report of what the vote totals were. It was well after 3 o'clock before we received a 77-page report with the vote totals. We were not provided with a written copy of the executive summary that gives you a plus-minus report per precinct, so you can understand which precincts are in balance, which precincts are out of balance, and which precincts are out of balance unexplained. The key here is the unexplained precincts. I asked for a written copy of that report before we began the meeting. I was told it wasn't available at the time. Wayne County Director of Elections, Greg Marr, provided a staff report, and in that staff report he gave us the executive summary verbally. If you were watching the Zoom call or in the meeting, you saw us frantically trying to write down the numbers of the precincts for the different communities in Wayne County and within Detroit. I did the math while I was sitting there, and it appeared that 70% of the Detroit absentee counting boards were out of balance unexplained. We have a repeat of the primary. The job of a canvasser is to make sure that you understand the differences between the number of ballots that are validly issued and received and the number of votes totaled. If there is a difference, you need to have an explanation. That is the job of the canvass. That did not occur in the 2 weeks that we had to canvass. That is why I voted no for the certification. Not just for Detroit, not to take votes away from anyone. It was to give the state the additional 10 days to do their investigation to get the answers to why the balances didn't match. Immediately upon voting no, my other board members made statements and immediately brought in the words racism and partisanship. My intent with my no vote was to make sure that we got the answers so that the voters of Detroit can have recountable precincts. It has nothing to do with black or white. After commentary from my board members and legal counsel informing me that I didn't have discretion to vote no, when I believe the documentation was not complete and accurate. My question is, if a board of canvassers doesn't have discretion to vote yes or no, why is there even a board of canvassers? We continued on with public comment. I endured about 2 hours worth of commentary, most of it calling me a racist, some of them getting personal and bringing my daughter into the situation and announcing to the world what city I live in and what school my daughter attends. During that public commentary, Vice Chair Kinloch pulled me into the back of the warehouse and offered me a compromise. He said he'd been on the phone with Democrats all throughout the state trying to find a solution to help certify the results in Wayne County. He assured me that he had confirmation from Governor Whitmer that they would be able to get an independent audit done to clarify the precincts that were unexplained in their differences. I asked him to draft up a motion because there were a few complications in exactly how we were going to describe an independent audit, independent comprehensive audit, to answer those questions. A softball audit of basically redoing the canvas may not catch it. It needs to be comprehensive. We went back out to the tables in the public. Vice Chair Kinloch met with the rest of the board members individually as to not cross any lines with the Open Meetings Act, and we came back, reconvened, and had a vote. Unfortunately, at that time, the Zoom conference on the laptop had been muted, and the public that was watching online was not able to hear the commentary with that motion being made. I saw an opportunity with that motion that Vice Chair Kinloch made to get to the bottom of the unexplained precincts. A comprehensive audit would attain the job that the canvass needs to do, and that is why I decided to vote yes on that motion. When that motion was passed, at the later point in the evening, we wrapped up the meeting shortly thereafter. With the amount of angry comments and threats that were coming in, I ended up leaving for my safety. I want to be clear that the documentation, the signatures on the final statement of votes that were voted to be certified, I did not physically sign. If there is a signature on that document, it was my signature stamp used without my approval. I do not have a copy of that document at this time to confirm if they put the signature stamp on it or not. It was brought to my attention that minutes after we took the vote, Secretary Benson was on TV saying that anything that we did in the motion was non-binding and that she wasn't agreeing to it. I made a good faith effort in that compromise with Vice Chair Kinloch and was misled. Right now, the State Board of Canvassers has the issue at their hands. I have provided them with a copy of my affidavit rescinding my vote. That motion to certify was contingent upon the comprehensive audit that needs to be done before there is a certification by the state. An audit after the fact is not going to answer those unexplained precincts, and they still will not be recountable. Another point that I want to make is that this is not about the presidential election. Most often the recounts are going to come for local candidates, city councils, school boards, mayors. When you're in a local community and you file for a recount and you walk in and half of the precincts can't be recounted because there's no answer as to why they don't match, that candidate and all the voters in that local district are disenfranchised.